Hey everybody, welcome to Global Game Jam Next, the part 2 in the audio tutorial series. And this one, we are going to primarily spend it talking about the free sound tool called Audacity. And it's an open source tool. We'll give you an introduction, where to get it, how to install it, what it can do, what it can't, and then give a full kind of demonstration of how it works. Recording, importing, editing, layering, effects, and exporting. And here we go. So, where to get it, how to install. So, it's a free, open source, cross-platform audio application used for multi-track audio recording and editing. What multi-track means is that kind of like Photoshop, you can add layers to sounds. So you can layer up 2 sounds or 3 sounds so that they play on top of each other and things like that. You can download it at audacityteam.org. This is what it looks like. We will be opening it up in a minute, but this is nice because it allows us to kind of look at what the window looks like. We have 2 tracks here, a click track and a vocal track, and we can select the range. And what we're looking at vertically are tracks, and horizontally we're looking at time. So as time passes, we move from left to right. And we'll see more of this. And you have a transport control up here: play, stop, record, fast forward, and rewind. And so what can it do and what can it do before we actually demonstrate it? So it's great for recording and editing audio, like sound effects, dialogue, and music. You can stack and layer sounds. You can include, there are many nice sound effects that are included with it, and you're able to export to multiple game audio formats. Some downsides of Audacity is it's not really great for music. So you can edit music, but it's difficult to make a music track within Audacity. It's not impossible, but it's more geared to live recordings. Audacity also doesn't have all the bells and whistles of some good sound editors that are paid, like Pro Tools, SoundForge, Goldwave, and Twisted Wave. And the application isn't quite as refined as some of those other applications. But it's still a really great program to get started with. And so that's kind of what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and start out. So this is right on the manual. So if you go to the Audacity site, so what I'll do is stop my slideshow. If you go to the Audacity site, you can actually get, we'll go home, and then the documentation is, where's the documentation? It's here someplace. Help, documentation, right there. So there are manuals with tutorials that you can go to here, which is great. Frequently asked questions. Basically takes you to like a little wiki page. And so here's the online manual, and it's a wiki page, and it tells you about installing and all that stuff. So you can get to it right from the audacityteam.org main page. And okay, so let's go ahead and open it up. So I have it right here in my dock, and I'm going to open it. I'm going to kind of hide everything else. And right now we're looking at Audacity, and it even comes up with help right away, which is really great. Now, when we're looking at Audacity, right now I don't have any tracks. Let's create a track. So some things that you may want to check first is that you can record directly into this. I'm going to use my microphone here. But sometimes you want to look at your preferences. So go ahead and go to Audacity Preferences. I think on the PC version, it's in the Edit menu is where preferences are. And you can see devices. This should be set up kind of automatically for you. We're going to use the built-in output, and we're going to choose the built-in microphone for recording. We can also use the built-in input, which is, I have a headphone plugged into this. So I'm going to use actually the built-in microphone on my Mac laptop to record. So I'm going to hit OK here. And then I'm going to go ahead and press record. So R is the record, or I can go up here, the little red button. And if I record, I can see that my voice is actually going into my computer, and I can talk, and so I'm recording. Now, why is there two channels? Well, that's because I chose stereo in the preferences. So if I go up to preferences and look at my devices, I'm going to two channels. Mono is one channel, and really for voice, mono is probably better. But for this, it's totally fine. I have my track and I can listen back. And if I record, I can see that my voice is actually going into. Now, you can set up a selection by clicking and dragging like this. So I can actually select this region and then hit, say, delete, and it will actually kind of splice that out and move that time that was to the right to the left. And so now we start with this, which is see that my voice is actually going into. So here after into, how I have all that space there, maybe what I want to do is remove some of that space. Going into my, there's also a little pop there. So if I do this, is actually going into my computer, and I can talk, and I don't like the in there, so I can sort of make my way through this, my computer, so I can get rid of the into my computer, and I can talk, and not the best edit there, but in any case, you, I think, start beginning to understand how easy it is to kind of move things around. And so one of the other things, so like computer is here, computer. What I can do is copy this using Command C or going up to the edit menu and copy and then paste. So I can say computer twice, for instance. Computer, and I can talk, and I can create a robot type of thing. Talk, and so I'm just using copy and paste from the edit menu. There are some other controls let's go over before we actually layer some tracks. Zooming out, zooming in, so that we're able to see the parts of the waveform more clearly. Now, you could just hit this. This is sort of a quick key that will actually fit the selection to the window. So if I select just this, I can select that and it will open up just that. Then I'll have to kind of zoom back out to see just that little bit. This is the undo features, like when you undo something and then when you want to redo something, that's what that's for. Here are your like copy, paste, and copy and cut, copy, paste commands here. And then you could take a region like this, where I say, I think C here at the very beginning, C like that, and what I can do is erase everything on the boundaries. C, that's frequently called cropping. I'm going to undo that, and then this allows me to silence a section. So if I don't want me saying computer twice, computer, what I can do is silence that region by going like that. There are some other tools up here. We've been primarily using this tool, which is a selection tool, and I can select an audio region. Now, there are some other tools too, like the envelope tool. So if I go into the envelope tool, what I can start doing is changing the volume. And what I can do is add points along here to change the volume of my, and you can see I'm sort of dynamically changing the volume, and that's kind of nice. The draw tool is kind of interesting, but it's only interesting if you kind of zoom in. I rarely use the draw tool. Sometimes it's good for fixing pops. This is where you select what you want to record. This is the output two channels, and whether it's mono or stereo, and then we have these. You can see there are a bunch of other menus. We're going to get to those as we go. But I'm going to go ahead and delete this track, and I'm going to bring in a piece of music that I wrote, and you can just drag it in. When you import it, you can make a copy of the file. I would say do that, otherwise it's going to edit the main file. So it makes a copy of that. All right, so we have our file. By the way, I'm going to save. So I'm going to save my project. And this is not the audio file. This is saving the entire project. And so what I'll do is save it, and I'll call it Project 1. And when I do that, what it's going to do is saving all the data into this file. So when I go to my desktop, you can see that the project consists of two files. This one, which is the AUP, stands for the Audacity file, and then project data. This is where it's actually keeping track of the audio files themselves. I wouldn't mess around with these at all. If you're going to pass this project to someone else, make sure that you do both of those. Okay, here's my piece of music. And let's talk about adding other sounds to this. So what I'm going to do is add in some thunder to this. So I have a sound file that's just thunder, and I'll add that. And so now when the piece starts, we're going to hear thunder, and then we're going to hear my music start. So we can add tracks, and if I wanted to, I could select everything, which is Command A, or up here there's a select all someplace. Someplace there's a select all. Oh, select all here. And then what we can do is we can export this as an MP3, WAV, and OGG. And if you watched the first video, which was tutorial 1, you realize that WAV files are uncompressed. So if I export as a WAV, so I'll say music with thunder, and I'll put that on my desktop and hit save. And all my tracks will be mixed down to 2 stereo channels. Because, and the reason for that is that WAV files can't contain tracks like this. Only Audacity can, which is why when we go to our desktop, we have a separate Audacity project and folder, and then this brand new file. And I can hit play here, and we should hear thunder music. All right, we took it for a spin. And what do we have coming up? So in our next video, we're going to take a step back from Audacity, and we're going to look at where to find sounds, and using audio libraries, how to customize sounds by editing and layering. So we're going to kind of find some sounds, throw them into Audacity, and edit and layer them to make them and manipulate them in intriguing ways. Again, I'm Michael Sweet.